Full-featured screen recording with Camtasia is part of a series of online demonstrations of material that can be found on the CL Open Resource Repository. In this workshop, we'll explore tips before you begin, what is Camtasia, how to create a screen recording and video, so recording, building your video, importing other media elements, editing and effects, that would be splitting, transitions, annotations, cursor appearance, highlighting, zoom, cropping, saving your project, exporting your file, uploading your media to Learn, and linking your MP4 to your page in Learn. So some tips before you begin. For best results, recording should be done in a carpeted room or a room with a large area rug. If that's not your current reality, that's okay. You could put down a large comforter or some pillows on the floor. Really what we're looking to do is to dampen the noise, which is going to help reduce the room echo. You also want to eliminate background noises such as fans or lights, and try to select a time of day when children, pets are more likely to be quieter inside the home, so you can really aim to reduce the amount of background noise and distractions that could be picked up during your recording. Any other devices in the room that you aren't using for recording should be muted or powered off, so that doesn't introduce any additional noises or hums from electronics into your recording. In terms of recording accessories, we recommend that you use an external microphone or one that's part of a headset. Built-in microphones can pick up sounds of your computer fan, so an external microphone is really the better choice. Doesn't need to be anything super expensive or sophisticated. The headset that I'm using right now was recently purchased off Amazon around the $40 mark, and I found the quality actually is quite good. You'll need to ensure that your microphone and headphones are set up properly so that Camtasia knows which device should serve as your microphone and which device should serve for playing back recorded audio. So to do this, we're going to make sure your microphone and headphones are plugged into your computer. And on your PC, you're going to search for sound settings. And this will come up. And you're going to see you have an option to select your output device, which is currently set to my headset, and my input device, which again is set to my headset, so the microphone on my headset, and you can see that my audio is getting picked up here. Okay, so let's launch Camtasia and start our walkthrough of how to do a screen recording. So what is Camtasia? Camtasia Studio is a program for making screencasts and screen recordings. That's video of what's captured on your screen. So in order to create a screen recording with Camtasia, you'll need to purchase a licensed copy via TechSmith. They do offer a free 30-day trial, but it's worth noting that your projects will publish with a large TechSmith watermark in the trial version. So it's best to purchase a licensed copy to avoid this. So when you first launch Camtasia, this is the opening screen that you'll see. So let's go ahead and click on New Project. So let's have a quick look at the Camtasia Workspace. So at the bottom here, we see the editor. It's made up of the timeline where you can arrange and edit your clips. The canvas is where you'll see a preview of your video, as well as a space that you can modify and adjust things like text and shapes, things like that you're using as part of your project. We see the Tools panel over here. The media bin is where your media and screen captures will be stored. And we see the Tools panel on the left side here that gives us options for text and shapes, transitions, behaviors, things of that sort. And we'll look at some of those options in more detail in a moment. So in terms of creating a screen recording, you see in the upper left here, we have the option to record. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And we see that Camtasia has launched a recording space here, as well as a recording toolbar up top. We have the option to select full screen. I can select custom, and I'm actually going to set it to standard 1024 by 768. And you see here the dashed green rectangle here is what will be included as part of my screen recording. All this space that's slightly grayed out, that's around it, will not be part of my screen capture. I can enable a video camera if I like. Worth noting that this will actually create a second video. So what happens is it's going to capture what in your screen recording as well as video from your camera. So in your project, you'll actually have two separate video media pieces that can be manipulated independently of each other in the editing phase. I have the ability to enable or disable my microphone and also the system audio. So if there's audio in the media pieces that I'm capturing, I can actually enable or disable that audio from coming into my screen recording. And of course, the big red record button. So before I click record, I want to make sure that I'm organized and have my media elements ready to include as part of my screen capture. So I'll just show you here. So I'm going to capture a graphic diagram, an Excel document, and a video, and then I'm going to bring a second video into my project after I've done my initial screen recording. So I'm ready to go. So I'm just going to bring up my first image here. I'm just going to position it in the recording window. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to click record. It's going to count me down. In this module, we'll continue to deepen our scientific understanding of Earth as a complex, interrelated system and examine the impact of human-induced changes. Press pause, and I intentionally moved my cursor around on this graphic because I want to demonstrate later some cursor effects for you. So I'm going to close this out. You see that my screen capture is paused at 17 seconds. So I'm going to bring up the next piece that I'd like to capture. So it's going to be a video. And just position this in my recording space. And click resume.
Earth right now is a good news, bad news story. There is bad news about the Earth, but there is some good news, and that is the recovery of the ozone layer. What we've learned from our study is that ozone holes will be consistently smaller than 8 million square miles by 2040.
So I clicked pause again on my screen recording, and I closed out that video. One other thing I'm going to include as part of my screen recording is an Excel document here, just to demonstrate that you can be working on something like a spreadsheet during a screen capture. So I'll click resume. Okay. And I'm going to press stop. So Camtasia is going to close the recording and open up the Camtasia Workspace. So I see Camtasia has already placed my screen recording in my media bin, and it has also put my recording on the editor. There it is. Okay, so let's have a look at building out this project and editing this screen capture. So if you look at the bottom of media bin here, I'd like to include another video to my project. So I'm going to hover over the plus sign and click on import media. And I want to bring in this global warming video. So I'm just going to select it and click open. So I could have included this as part of my initial screen recording, but I do want to show you another way of adding media elements after the fact. So it has added it to my media bin. I can click on it, click and drag, and bring it right into my project. So it is now on the editor. Let's look at some basic editing in Camtasia. So I'll draw your attention here, just above the editor, to split. So what split allows you to do is, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here on my screen recording. And let's say I want to edit out a portion of this. So I'm going to select the media on my editor. And with it selected, I can go ahead and click split. And it's going to actually cut it into two pieces. So now I can actually move this piece, and it's a separate element. I'm just going to undo that. If you wanted to trim the beginning and the end of your clips, it's just a matter of hovering over the edge, clicking and dragging it in. I can do that on both sides if I like. Just see where we are here. And now the beginning and the end are trimmed up. If you notice, it's left a gap at the very beginning of my video, so I'd like to just click and drag that over. They snap nicely together. So now my video will start right at the beginning when I hit play. We'll continue to deepen. Okay. So let's have a look quickly at transitions. I'm sure you're familiar with some of these. Lots of different options here within transitions. So I'm just going to select fade, and I'm going to have my video fade up at the very beginning. Let me zoom right in so you can see that. And there it is. And if I click and hover over this, I can adjust the duration of my fade in as well. Likewise, I can put a fade in between two clips, so it fades from one to the next. Click and drag, and you see that once I click and start to drag, it highlights where I can actually place this fade. So I'll just click and drag in there and adjust the duration of the fade. And there we have one fading nicely from one into the next. I do notice that this video is quite a bit smaller than the other one on this canvas, so I can actually click and drag this. So that it all fits within the size of my video. There we are. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to add some text to the very beginning of my video. I can select annotations, and there's some speech bubbles here, but I'm just going to select a basic text box, put it right on my canvas. So I'm just going to call it test project. And I'm going to position it right here. I see that it's white on white. So if I click on it, I can actually change the properties here. And I see that there's options for font, size, alignment, and more. For now, I'm just going to change the color. So let's change the color to a black. So with it selected, also note that I can drag it around on my project and position it anywhere I like. I'm just going to keep it in the bottom left, right in this nice white space here. Also note its placement in the editor. So when I've added the text to the canvas, it has put it on my editor. I can click and move this around wherever I like. Notice that it's actually positioned it right at my playhead here. So if I move over just a bit, there's actually a bit of space. I can drag this over so it starts right at the beginning of my movie. And I'm going to set a fade transition on the beginning and the end. Zoom in a bit there. I can adjust that so that my text comes on with a fade and fades out as well. So let's have a look at cursor appearance. Right around here in my screen capture, I was mousing over some things and I had my cursor in view. So let's have a look at cursor effects. I'm going to select this screen capture on my editor timeline. And with it selected, you see that there's some properties here. I'm going to go ahead and click on the cursor properties. And it allows me to adjust the scale of my cursor, so I can make this super big if I want to. I can scale it right down, and I can also change the opacity. So if I don't want my cursor seen at all, I can make it completely invisible by adjusting the opacity to 0. I'm going to leave it up just for right now. There are also some cursor effects I can apply. So I can use highlighting, which is going to add this circle around it. I can magnify. I can use it as a spotlight, so it'll gray out other things around my cursor. And I can smooth out my cursor movement. So I'm going to apply that. And I'm also going to apply the cursor magnify for this demonstration. So you'll see that it's added a circle, like a large magnifying glass, and my cursor is still in view. So I'm actually going to bring up my cursor properties again, and I'm going to change the opacity of my cursor to 0. I also have the ability to change the size and the zoom. There's some other properties here that you can experiment with, such as shadow, softness. I can also choose to highlight a specific part of my video if I want to draw attention to it. So that's under annotations and then shapes. And you'll see here that there are different shapes. I'm just going to drag this rectangle out for now. And I can change my outline color. Maybe I want to make it yellow to make it stand out. Feel free to explore the different shapes and options here for highlighting. Okay, moving right along, let's take a quick look at the zoom effect. I can select my screen capture on the editor and click on animation, and we see that there's zoom here. So if I actually start to drag in the zoom, you'll notice that an arrow appears on my screen capture recording here, and I can click and drag this out, and it's going to actually change the duration of that zoom. So we're going to get this nice zoom in effect. If you don't like it, you can just select it and press delete on your keyboard, and it deletes it right off my editor. If I'd like to crop my recordings, it's just a matter of going up to the top here and clicking on crop. And I can scale it down to any size I like. I like the size that it's at right now, so I'm just going to leave it full size. Okay, well, I'm quite happy with my screen capture here for the sake of this demonstration. So let's go ahead and save the project. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm just going to call this Test Project. And click Save. Okay, so the project's been saved. So now we just need to export the file and then upload it into our course and learn. So to export the file, we're going to go up here to the upper right under Share. Click on Share and then choose Local File. In terms of production settings, I'm going to select MP4 only up to 1080p. So it's going to result in a standalone MP4 file that I can upload into my course and learn. So I'm going to click Next. Okay, and I'll leave it as Test Project and click Save. So it's ready to go. I'll click Finish, and it's going to render out my screen capture as an MP4 video. Okay, so our project has rendered. Let's have a quick look to make sure it's in there. So here we are. It's put it in a folder called Test Project, so I'll open that up. And let's see what we have. We'll continue to deepen our scientific understanding of Earth as a complex, interrelated system and examine the impact of human-induced changes. Okay, looks good. Let's go ahead and get this into our course and learn. Okay, so I've got my course here and learn, and I've got my module landing page here all ready to go. I would like to link directly to my video here under the content section of my page. So I'm going to show you how to do a quick link and learn. We recognize that there's more than one way of uploading files to your course, but this is a good way to include a link that falls directly in line with the content on your page. Okay, so let's go up here to Course Admin, and I'm going to click on Manage Files. And I've already created a video folder here just to keep my files organized and separate from the HTML pages that make up my course. So I'll click on Video and Upload. And I've got my video file right here, so I'm going to drag that right up into the Upload window. And I'll click Save. So there it is. Let's go back to my module landing page, which is right here. And again, I would like my link to go right here. So I'm going to click on Edit HTML. I'm going to put my cursor where I'd like my link to go. Just delete the word video for now. And on the Learn editor, I'm going to click Insert Quick Link. And then I'm going to browse to Course File, Video, and there's my test project. So rather than clicking on it right here, which will insert a link with the link name as my file name right here, which could be quite ugly, let's go ahead and click on Options. And I'm just going to rename this test project. It's good practice to include the file type, just so students know what to expect when they're clicking on that link, that it's going to launch a video file. And I'm going to set the target to open in a new window, so when students do click on the link, it's going to launch the video in a new window and will play with their default system video player. So I'm going to click Insert. So there's my link. I also would like to include a time code. Again, good practice, just so students know how long it will take them to watch the video. So if I look at my MP4 file here, I do see the length is 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So I'm just going to put that it's approximately rounded up to 3 minutes in length. I'll click Save and Close. Okay, there's my link. Let's give it a try, see what we have. We'll continue to deepen our scientific understanding of Earth, and there you have it. I'd like to thank you for your interest in this workshop. Please visit the links that we provided on the Open Resource Repository page for more information about this workshop, as well as other workshops that may be of use to you in creating your course content.